So I haven't recorded myself for a long time. I was doing a podcast on a regular basis and stopped back in, I don't even know, but I say March because everything stopped in March. So March, last time I spoke out loud to my phone, and today seems like a really good day to pick it up again, at least just this one time. So today I graduated from the Snelling Center for Government Vermont Leadership Institute with 21 other brilliant leaders from all over Vermont. And this is significant for many reasons. First of all, we as a cohort just tolerated the most insane year. It wasn't even a year, but it felt like a year. It felt like a decade of just over-the-top craziness. And I hate using that adjective because it's not crazy. It is just an overwhelming number of variables that we were all dealing with while going through this training, where the training is designed so you leave normal everyday life, one weekend a month or one weekend every 2 months. You leave everyday life and you shut the doors and you go inside yourself and you learn about yourself. You learn about how to be a leader. It's a leadership training, so I don't need to go into the details of that. But the point that I'm trying to make is that it is an exit from the world so you can do the deep dive. And there was no way that we were going to keep 2020 out by closing a door, going to a resort, nothing, shutting the curtains. It'll find its way in. It's like a bad smell. Or water. Let's say water. Water finds its way in. So there was no avoiding the shit that was going down in 2020 while going through this leadership training. And, while going through it, and I don't even have enough hindsight to talk about it like it's in the past, so I'm not even going to attempt. But what I wanted to say on record, so I have it for myself, is what I said today off the cuff, which is usually my MO. So we were all asked to bring an artifact, something that represented our time during VLI, Vermont Leadership Institute. And I searched around my house for this artifact, a symbolism, and I couldn't find an item. And, much of that reason is because I don't have a lot of items. And it's not that I couldn't have them. I choose not to have them. Or I just I don't attach to items. I think it's a little bit of both. I'm not going to say that I don't attach to items like people who do are in the wrong. That's ridiculous. I just don't have items. So anyway, to further or to not continue to spin on that line of logic, so I'm looking around. I'm like, why don't I have many items? Well, okay, let me go get a photo of my father. And that artifact of, the picture of my father standing with his mother in the 1940s when he was about to ship off with the U.S. Navy to participate in World War II. He chose to go. And she and his father were immigrants from Italy who had come over and started a family. And Dad, who then developed Alzheimer's disease when I was really young because he was that much older. He had me when he was 50, and I was his fifth child, the baby. So him developing Alzheimer's and not being able to pass on any of that history, the story of his family, the story of his trauma, getting his leg blown off by a mortar, and going through a divorce and remarrying, having 5 kids from 2 different families, and all of the family history that goes, I'm only one generation removed from Italy, and I didn't get to hear any of those stories from him because at age 11, I was just coming into the time where I could understand and could sit and listen to those things. But that's when his brain started to deteriorate, and by my age of 16, he had forgotten who I was. And I say that very flippantly because I've told the story over and over. It is part of the reel that plays, the software that runs in the background of my mind and life all the time. And so I grabbed a picture of Dad and his mom, and I also grabbed 2 books, 2 of many that have influenced me, but 2 major ones: Women Who Run with Wolves and Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And so I brought the books, and classic Molly Stone, I took in the entire room, everyone's artifact. Everyone spoke on their artifact. Everyone spoke about their experience. And I listened intently because I love story, and I'm attracted to story. And of course, symbolism is so fascinating, and what it means to people, what it represents. I mean, the human being is just incredible. And when it came to me, I ended up last, which was not on purpose, but when I saw it coming, that I was going to be last, I made sure then I was last, because I wanted to go full circle with my artifact, which I chose or re-chose on the spot. And I left my envelope with the picture and the 2 books in a stack next to me on the table. And I took the microphone from Jody, the director, who was also my boss, my executive director at work, and the reason why I was sitting in the chair in the first place. Now, he would say, "No, it's not me, it's you." But what he did for me was fill in that gap of not having, and he's going to hate it if he hears me say, I see him as a father figure, because he's not that much older than me. But what he did for me was fill that gap that I needed filled at the moment to motivate me, to inspire me to keep moving forward. And I'm guessing that's what dads do. I don't know. So I think of it that way, because I think of it as a positive and something I was missing, and I'm missing my dad, so maybe that was part of what my dad would have done. So I made note that he was the one who handed me the microphone so I could speak on behalf of the experience that I had because of him. And that exchange of the microphone between he and I was extremely powerful to me. And so I spoke, and I told everyone that I brought things, but everything has changed. And, just the fact that Jody is handing me this microphone, the fact that I got into VLI, and then shortly after that, Jody got chosen to be the director. And it was just meant to be part of this 2020 cohort. And again, I'm not gonna write any poetry, because it is not in hindsight enough for me to reflect in an appropriate manner. However, I can see the writing on the wall, or the poetry written on the wall. That's coming. But anyway, I want to stay present. And so he handed me the mic, and I said my artifact was going to be these things next to me. But because of this man here, I am sitting in this chair. Because of that man, I believe that I belong here. And I'm guessing that everyone in the room has seen my arms, the scars on my arms. You can't hide them. You can't, they are very visible. And, I don't hide. well, I don't hide them. I used to. I don't anymore. And I know everyone has seen them. And I said that those speak to a person that I was, a person that thought they couldn't do anything. Without the foundation, with all of the loss, with all of the chaos that was my early life, I thought that was it for me. That a leadership role, or a role where I was looked to for anything, that was out of reach for me. I was broken. I was destroyed. I was broken upon arrival. Actually, I don't really believe that. I wasn't broken upon arrival. I had a really good early childhood and developed really great skills during that time that got me and helped me survive what I had to go through. And just like 2020, there's no way to get to the other side but to go through. And there were a lot of coping mechanisms that I developed that were extremely toxic and that still cling to me like a bad entity. And I know that. And so I called attention to my arms. I said, I know you've seen it. I see it every day. I have to look at it every day. I have to deal with it. And I have to deal with the glances down and then the glance back up to meet my eyes, because they don't want to make me uncomfortable, obviously. And I don't want to make people uncomfortable, thinking that I'm self-destructive. So, and it's self-destructive, it's funny because the self-destructive ones, I, as a person who engages in self-destruction, do it because I feel everything so hard. And if I feel everything so hard, I'm going to protect others from feeling things so hard. And I just grew up protecting, and I protected my father, and so I have that tendency to do that. And so the artifact that I brought to the table was myself, the scars on my arms, those, and myself who endure them. That is the artifact. I am the artifact. It's something that I'll never lose. I'll have me till the day I die. And I can't attach to objects. And that's okay. And I'm always ready to pick up and leave because that's what I'm used to. And that's okay. And so I've created a museum of memories. I have shelved artifacts within me and on me. And I carry them. And I told everyone, I looked around the room and said to them, and I meant it with every fiber of my being, that they have added to the light that glows within me, the light that has kept me alive, the light that has turned, or at least directed me out of the dark, obviously. And, it's weird to say that the light was what led to some of my self-destruction, but I think it's because I was searching and trying to cope. And I think coping is a desire to stay on. So my light was so strong that when I couldn't deal, I would shelve the artifact within my body and continue to move. There's a difference between giving up and doing what I've done in the past. It was never about giving up. It was about coping and carrying on. And so all those folks in the room and that experience and, 2020 in and of itself has added to that library of knowledge that I hold within me. And I can carry around all the books that I want and tout them